Hey guys, I don't normally do three videos in a row, but I wanted to make sure that I had enough content for when I'm doing a lot of traveling and we're going to be heading back to the States next week. And I wanted to make sure that I had all my videos lined up and locked and loaded so you guys could have the content that you've been subscribing to me for. And by the way, subscribe. This is Tamara Blodgett, and I used to be the cheating carnivore, and cheating carnivore no more. My gosh, ketogenic faster is what I am now. But also I'm incorporating some other things. I'm not gonna let go of that journey. I've been keto-based since July of 2017. So I'm not going anywhere on this. I've been a long time. I have done some cheating. I have had some fun days, but for the most part, I stayed tried and true. But I am adopting some new principles so that I can leverage them against inflammation, weight loss. Anyhow, this is a video about our expat life. And I wanted to talk about the fact that I have a new cleaning lady now. The old cleaning lady who I've been using for a little while, she's late 30s. She's a nice gal. She used to be at our condominium complex here, and she used to be the cleaner here. Hubs championed her when they were starting to be unfair with her wage and weren't wanting to pay her Social Security and things like that. All that stuff was happening, and we got rid of that administration, and we have a really legit on board up and up administration now, which is its own video. Anyhow, so I'll call her X. And because her name starts with an X. And she was lovely at first. She would come every Saturday. We would go to the beach with M&B, and we'd stay there all day. I'd get back, the house was clean. It was like ideal. She was a good cleaner. She had a good cost. Everything was fine. And then I came back the next year, and it started to get a little bit like disconnected. And that, sometimes she could come on that Saturday, sometimes she couldn't, sometimes she'd be really late, sometimes she'd be really early. I put up with all that because we're in Mexico, and their timeliness and punctuality is on a different scale than the one in America. If that's a problem for people, they shouldn't come down here. I mean, when they say they're going to be there at 8, it could be anywhere from 7:30 to 10:30. It's a window of time, guys. It's a window. It's like the cable guy. I'll be there from 10 to noon. It's like that. And if that's something that gets you riled up, this is not a good country for you to be in. If you don't mind that they're just showing up whenever and you know it'll be in that window, then you're good to go. Well, she was getting outside of the window. She was sometimes not coming. She'd say, oh, I can't make that day, but it was really unusual. It happened like twice the prior season. I was like, okay. And she'd come in and clean our house, before we arrived, which was super great because our windows get full of sea spray and stuff. And so it was really, really delightful. And then this year, she didn't come one day she said she would. And if she came the day she was supposed to, she would say, oh, I'm coming in the afternoon. And then last minute, she'd switch it to morning or vice versa. And here I am trying to work 50 hours a week minimum. And Hubs or I have taken off the bed linen in preparation for it getting made. We've picked up the house. We have run around, how you pick up the house before the cleaner comes so they don't have to fight the stuff everywhere, right? And I'm a little bit of slobbish around the edges, right? So there's that. And I had told her this season when I saw the lay of the land and I noticed that she was shifting our time around constantly, and then she'd say yes to one person and yes to us, and she'd have to shift us to a different time of the day because she had told them yes to, and she was just trying to overcommit, get a lot of money in. But then we were all suffering with our schedules. We couldn't plan anything. And I tried to tell her that. I was like, I work 6 days a week. I need to actually have a day. I would have been fine if she had just told me I can come every Thursday now or every Monday, and it wouldn't have mattered even if maybe she had switched the day time during the day. It would have been okay, morning or afternoon. She would say, oh, I'm still coming today, but I can't come till later. I would have even put up with that. But she wasn't even doing that. She was just canceling last minute. And she didn't want to deal with me because she said I scared her, my eyes or something like that. And I was like, I'm the one that gives you a free bag of clothes and stuff every time you come, free food, I pay you extra, I'm so nice to you. She just was I thought it was kind of an excuse. And she liked working with Hubs because he had championed her earlier, so she trusted him or whatever, which is all fine. I'm sure that's all legitimate. I just wanted her to clean my house and have some schedule. I thought that wasn't much to ask. I knew she was capable because she had done it when we first were here. So I knew she was capable. What she was doing was like, okay, they're only here 6 months out of the year. I don't want to do it. And then when we first got here this year, we had been on Saturdays forever. And then she goes, oh, I gave your Saturday away to this person because they're here full time. And I was like, huh, that person's been vacationing for 6 months off and on. So that's not really it. She wanted Saturdays for somebody else. And then I told her when I saw things were getting pear-shaped, I said, okay, I will pay you, her going rate was $350. I said, I'll pay you $500 if you just come every other week. I said, because I understand my house will be dirtier and I want to make it worth your while. So I'll do that. But still, she didn't care. Still, she didn't care. And there was a couple times where she was like, at the 2-week mark, she goes, I can't do it. I need another week. I got a vacation here. I got a kid this. I got a whatever. And I was like, okay, I'm going to find somebody else. I'm all done with that. And of course, Hubs wasn't real happy with me. He was like, you know, she's a good cleaner and she's trying hard. I said, she's all those things. I said, but I don't like the musical chair time frame every week. I don't like begging her to come clean my house and just be that day. And I especially don't like, you know, one time she called up and she said, oh, I can't do it, but my friend can. I was like, I looked at Hubs. I was like, no, I'd rather have my house filthy and I clean it myself once a month, even with my schedule. I was just emotionally done with the whole thing. So there was an orangutan. I call my condominium complex a zoo full of people. And I like to call the ones that are contrary and contentious orangutans because they like to beat their chest and stuff. Somebody told me that they don't do that, but I just love the name orangutan. They're probably nicer. Like, wasn't one of those with Clint Eastwood in his 70s movies, like Right Turn Clyde or whatever? Anyways, I just like the way it sounds. It's funny to me. So there was a guy that lived in a 1-bed, 1-bath, and he was right next door to us when we first moved in here, and we had the little condo that I talked to you guys about. Okay, when we downsized from the casa, we bought a little condo because that was the only thing that was available here, and we loved it. But then as we started living in it a little bit longer, we realized that a little bit more room would be better, especially with 4 children coming to visit, the potential, and then our friends and stuff. And so we have actually used the 2 bedrooms and the bigger condo a lot so far. We've had 3 people come and we were really, really sure and glad to have gotten this. But in the beginning, with the first season, we lived in the little condo. In the second season, Mom lived in it. And then we sold it to my friend C, who I really like a lot. Anyway, one of the orangutans lived next door and he had been using our new cleaner that we're using today for the first time. Okay, so she's now cleaning here. And I know that particular orangutan would have never put up with a lack of punctuality or poor cleaning. So I felt real good about reaching out to her on WhatsApp and saying, hey, I'm C's friend. I'm from the this condominium complex here. Do you think you'd like to meet with me and clean my condo? And she said yes. And she told me she would give me Fridays. And I was like, that's fine. It's not as good as Saturdays. But what I love about Fridays is that it's just a day I can count on. I can go, okay, the girl's coming on Friday. And then if Hubs and I want to do anything, we just leave and go. This particular orangutan that used to live in that condo, he recently sold because he did some miserable things here at our condominium complex that he felt ashamed about. And so he sold and got the heck out of here because he couldn't stand looking at any of us because we all looked at him like this. And wouldn't even talk to him or say hello to him. But he was an exacting guy. He's a former CPA, supposedly. Anyway, he had his condo perfect all the time. He was very fastidious. He was a real pain in the neck, a real butt munch type. So we know that this gal wouldn't have cleaned for him for 7 years if she had had any kind of flaws. So she's gonna put my prior cleaning lady to shame, I'm sure. And she's a little bit younger. But my prior cleaning lady, you know, I don't want to make her sound awful. I just think she got complacent and overcommitted, and now she's juggling all this stuff and doesn't know what to do. But that's not my problem, and I'm sick of giving her chances. I think Hubs would still be giving her chances because he's an underdog champion type of guy, and I'll put up with that for a time. But then after I explain myself and the behavior continues, then I have to set permanent limits. I'm like, no, you're gone now, and she'll know that we're not using her anymore when she never gets called again. And I don't think she'll reach out, guys. I think she's all like frazzled and stuff, and so she doesn't know what she's doing. And that's fine, I don't care. I was good to her, and that's all I have to do is I just fall back on that I was a good human to her, and that wasn't good enough for her. She just couldn't get her act together, and she was not motivated to keep us as clients, even if I paid more. And then when M and B had a talk with her because they use her more extensively because they have more assets and holdings here, and they were having the same problem with her, she was like, oh, me and Hubs and said, well, I got to have my house cleaned every 15 days. And I was like, thanks for throwing me under the bus. That's not what I said. I said, it would be great. You've never shown up every 2 weeks, ever once. It gets to be 10 days to 3 weeks, and I have to force you to come in and clean sometime within a window of 12 to 20 days. That's what it has been. But she made it sound like I was going, and I was like, no, I've never done that. Not one time, because I didn't want her to think I was one of those angry American types that insisted on something. But when she had given me perfect service the first year, fairly good service the second year, and then dropped the ball like down a 150-foot well, I was like, no, I know what you're capable of. I have that point of reference, and now you're flaking off in a way that's completely inappropriate. So no. So let's talk about prices, because that's really important. Hubs and I are kind of on a fixed income. I'm malleable with my job. I can make more money if I write like a book a month or something, but that's not always feasible. You know, I have joints to maintain and fingers and a life and everything else. And that was great that I could do that 13 years ago. But at this stage, I kind of want to get a book done every 4 months is kind of where I'm going. So we live in kind of a perimeter of income. And we have a certain amount of money we're okay spending. So I wouldn't pay for a cleaning person in the States. I wouldn't pay to have my nails or pedicure done in the States, but I will pay to have my eyelashes done in the States because I love that, because I don't like makeup. On costs, my storage was full. I had to go figure that out. Anyway, so the cost right now for getting everything cleaned for like a 4-hour clean is about 350 pesos. That's what X was charging us. And this gal is going to be charging us 400. So 400 pesos, it's going to take her 5 hours. I'm going to give her 500 today because I wanted to be fair. I told her, I said, I know my house is really dirty this time. It's your first time cleaning. You had to meet with me. I had to tell you my requirements and stuff. I want to make sure that I'm fair with that. And she seemed to really like that. And so I went ahead and I'm giving her a little bit extra. But so 400, when we were 20 to 1, 400 would have been about $20. Now 400 is more like about $25, $24 and some change. So that's what it costs for me to get the condominium that we're in right now cleaned one time per week. So essentially $100 a month. I don't know what it would cost in the States because I know I won't. But what I do know is that it's not going to be this inexpensive. So I want to just talk about living foreign a little bit. The things that we can't afford to do in the States, you can't afford to do here. They're usually involving labor. For instance, I have a C cleaning today, and it's going to cost me $24 and some change. I have the dogs getting groomed on Monday, and that's 1,000 pesos, including the tip. So that's about $55, $57, $58. Okay, it cost me $120, including the tip in the States, so it's half the cost. And let me see, what are some other things? Oh yeah, the eyelashes. That cost me 350 pesos each time I go up there and get my eyelashes done, which is twice a month. But the DD to get back costs me about 80, okay? And then I tip. So if you take the 350 and the 100 peso tip I give my girl, Gabby, and then you put on 80, you're essentially, it's almost 550, right? Let's just round it up and say 550. So for me to get my eyelashes done, it's about $28 2 times a month, okay? So that means, I'm in the $55 range or so to get eyelashes done here. My girl in the States charges me $60 each time. So again, that's about half, all things considered. Next year, if I feel like I can justify it, I'll start getting my pedicures and manicures done again down here. And I can pretty much have eyelashes, pedicure, and manicure done for about $135 to $150. I think that's right, yes. No, it'd be about $100 actually. I think around $100 I can get those things done, and then it's another $100 for the house to be cleaned, and those I consider to be very much luxury items. And I'm very excited about being able to have them while I'm here. And back in the States, it's not something that's affordable. It's not something I want to spend my money on. Let's put it that way. I'd rather spend my money on high quality food like steak and ground beef and things like that. So that's where I'm at for the States. But if you want to come down to Mexico, and those things are important to you and you'd like to live a higher quality and a higher caliber lifestyle as far as like having more discretionary income and being able to spend more time on what you would like to spend instead of the rudimentary stuff. This is the place to be. They'll even buy your groceries for you. There's a gal, call her P. She lives the floor above us, 2 floors above us, I think. And she has a guy that goes out and gets her groceries for her. And she just gives him a list, and he brings it in every week. And she doesn't even have to mess with that. And it's worth it. It's worth it for her. Now, Hubs likes to do the grocery shopping. He knows he wants to go to Sam's Club. He wants to do all that stuff. And so that makes sense. But anyway, that's something to consider. And that was just my cleaning lady story, okay? And I don't know if this gal always work out, but I sweetened the deal by telling her, I'll pay you 400 pesos one time a month while we're not here for you to just come in and flush the commodes, open the windows, dust, do that stuff. Just do that. And then I said, and then right before we come, I'll WhatsApp you, when we return here in November, I said, I'll WhatsApp you and you can clean the condo like the day or 2 before we come. Okay. And she liked that because she's like, oh, I'm guaranteed that amount of money. It keeps a little coming in from these people and then they return. And then every week I go back to doing them. Right. So I wanted to get that in. I thought it was worth it. I was like, will I pay, $22 a month to have her come in and continue to have that service? Yeah, I will. That's a really exciting potential thing. We'll see, the jury's out, but because she was used by the orangutan for 7 years, I feel very confident that she's a punctual person that will keep the same day going for me. And if she couldn't, once in a while, because people have lives and shit happens, right? She could just text me on WhatsApp and say, Tamara, I need this day this week because of this thing. And if that happened once a month, once every 5 weeks, I wouldn't freak out. I just need to feel like that most of the time it's going to be the same day. And if it's not going to be, they're not going to call me up that morning and go, I got to change out. Sorry about your schedule. No. Anyway, subscribe if you like these little expat tidbits and sort of my take on stories with my life living foreign and everything. I'm going to do a proper video where I go into the next bit of my story from episode 1 and 2. I will be episode 3. This is just an insert, a little story insert. This isn't like my normal episodic type of video. Anyway, subscribe, you guys. Like me. Share me.